Welcome, everyone. It is a glorious day. Wednesday. We're here on Wednesday. Hey, right? Good morning. Good morning, my beautiful delight. So, you see, it is a lovely Wednesday. Here's that topic, getting what you want. You see, last night as we were reading the lecture, something dawned on me. Not that I didn't know, but you know when you learn it again for the first time, you're like, get out. There's a feeling. There is a feeling that you get. Hmm? Let's describe it, and you'll recognize it in your life. The difference between hoping for something, pining and longing for something, and having something are two different things. Look at how it feels when you have something. You feel full, you feel satisfied, sure, right? That's what it feels like. That is what it feels like. Go through the Rolodex of your mind and see it for yourself. When you know that you have something, there is a definite feeling of, oh my God, yeah, this is mine. There's no questions. But now compare it to the feeling of, man, I wish I had that. Man, there's got to be something more. There's got to be, there's a restless feeling. There's a restlessness that comes when you don't know, you're not sure, you're just like, man, there's that thing that you feel, that angst, that agitation. But when you know that you're satisfied, you just, there's a feeling of peace. And we take those two feelings for granted. We take them for granted because we try and force. Trust me, I know about forcing. We try and force, but you don't have to force. All last night in the lecture with those 3 chapters, we heard, and I want to flip over there so bad, but I don't know if it'll disrupt the stream. I don't know. But when you hear things like confidence, trusting yourself, right? When we hear things like that, we're like, but I don't know how to do that. It feels all day long, we feel all day long. Positively, Angela, you okay? You've been on mute for a minute. Oh, no. At least YouTube is open. You guys got me cracking up at here. Anywho, let's start. Let's start again. Oh my God. Wait, okay. We have this thing, right, that we do. There's a feeling that we get. When you want something, right? When you're longing for something, there's a sense of agitation underneath. I want you to ponder it for a minute. Think about this as you're going through it. You know that when you want something, you feel restless, unsettled. You're pacing. Man, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But the moment you get to a certain space of having something, what happens? You feel satisfied. You feel peaceful. You feel as though you're not waiting for something. This is the difference between getting, having, wanting. In the lecture last night, Neville says we have to get the consciousness of the thing. And for some of us, that doesn't make any sense. To get the consciousness of a thing? What do you mean by get the consciousness of a thing? All right. Let's start with you know how sometimes there's certain people that you really like, you're keen on them. They make you feel good to be around them, right? Yes. But now all of a sudden there's someone you're just not that fond of. You know, they just rub you the wrong way. And you feel a little unsettled. You don't like being around them. You see, you can tell the difference between those two feelings. You can tell the difference between those two feelings. Well, when you notice those two differences, bring it up a level. You know, I really could use a new job. I really could use more money in the bank. What does that feel like to you? It's something you want. It is something you're longing for. It is something you have to make your life more comfortable here. Because we all know if we don't pay Caesar, Caesar is a little cruel. Caesar gonna have you out on the streets in -40, right? We know this. So there's this thing in the back of your mind that is unsettled. What if I don't? But now I want you to search for the feeling of having had something, of having been secure, of having been safe, of having been satisfied. Oh, but Angela, I've never felt that in my life. We have all had moments, even if we say, yeah, but I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. There's always that feeling there. What I'm trying to convey to you today is paying attention to the feeling, because it is the feeling that tells you what you have in your consciousness. You see, we think consciousness is this mystical. No, consciousness is what you are aware of right now. Right here, right now. If you're sitting here and you think, well, damn, this heifer is annoying as hell, you are conscious of that. You are conscious of it. You are fully aware of it. It is there. And you will come up with all of the reasons why you should swipe off and go, peace, this is not for me. So you see, it is a feeling. There's a feeling of security that we get. But the feeling of security only comes if you are aware of being secure. You can't just conjure it out of nowhere. You have to have that feeling of security. The same way you have the feeling of angst and trepidation, and you're anxious and you pace, huh? The pacing goes along with the anxiousness. The anxiousness is in your consciousness. You are aware of, oh my God, I don't know, man. I don't feel secure here. I don't feel. This is the point that Neville Goddard is trying to convey, because some people aren't getting it. And last night when I read it, again for the billionth time, I sat there and I felt myself and I was like, oh, this is exactly what it feels like. So, you know, when people say, I started practicing the principles and my life went to hell, everything was falling apart. People say things have to fall apart before they get better. What now? That is just something you believe to be true. It really is. So you see how we live? We live in a metaphorical sense. We look at situations and we think, oh, well, this is how it has to be. No. It doesn't have to be. It is because we say it is. But you don't want to believe me. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to look at your life and see it for yourself. Every day that we get up, we walk with a feeling. And every time you turn around, people say, well, get out your feelings. You're too in your feelings. There isn't anywhere else to be. The feeling that you are in is showing you what you are holding in your mind's eye. As within, so without. As above, so below. So this is why it is important. People say, well, it's hidden in your subconscious mind. You don't even know how to get to that. Yes, you do. Because it is the feeling that you have that will tell you what you are presently aware of. So if you feel a particular way, you know, may say, man, I don't know how I feel. Sit with it for a minute. Don't say, I don't know how I feel. Sit with it for a moment, and the feeling comes to the surface for you. And if you are honest with yourself, we do it all the time. The feeling is ever there, but sometimes we try and suppress the feeling. And that's why that scripture exists. God is not mocked. Because the consciousness, the awareness you have of the thing that you feel, that is what you will experience. I don't know of any other way of putting it just yet. For the light to go on and you say, ah, I got it. Other than to observe yourself and you'll see it. People say, well, you know, I always get what I want. Life always works out for me. The real people who believe that, right? The real people who believe that, watch them. It's not something they say with their mouths. Not at all. It is something they know to be true for themselves. So this is why when we start saying affirmations, quote unquote, just willy-nilly, because you know you're trying to boost yourself, it is not your words that make the change or the difference. It is what you hold to be true about the words that you are saying. That is why they cannot return void. Not because you speak, but because of what you hold to be true. If you say, man, I trust my intuition. It's never steered me wrong before. My father always says it to me. He goes, don't go against your mind. Don't go against your mind. He says, when you hear it, follow through. He goes, I've had too many times where I went against it and messed things up. That is a knowing on the inside. It is a feeling of truth. And no amount of words is going to change that. It is a knowing that you have. So look at your life for a minute. Where in there were you sure of something? And you just stood on it 10 toes down. Where? Where? You'll know it. You were so sure of something. Now, I've heard, because you know when you had to write exams, right? I've heard and I've said, man, I was so sure I passed. But then when you get them talking, they say, but you know, something in the back of my mind, I knew I was going to fail. You just listen to them long enough and they'll start telling it to you with their own mouths. Because what were they doing? They were hoping to pass. They were hoping. But the ones who said, man, I knew I failed, and then they got a pass, they're like, they were hoping to not. They knew something. So what I'm trying to convey to you this morning, We live by what we know, meaning we live by what we are aware of being. If you walk down the street and in the back of your mind, man, I'm nobody. You gotta know people. You gotta have the luck of the Irish. You gotta be connected to get anywhere. That is a stumbling block to you. Because you're not just saying it with your words, you wholeheartedly believe it to be true, that someone else holds the power over your life. Well, how is that possible that we live in a world with a government? The government rules us. Why? Because you feel incapable of ruling yourself. That's the fear. Well, if I do this, I'm gonna mess it up. So I'm gonna just trust them to do it for me. I don't think you realize how much power that is. So how do you move yourself from the feeling of longing and pining and wishing? How do you move from there to the feeling of satisfaction? Well, you go to where you know to be true. What do you know in your life? Where else are you going to go? You can't go anywhere else. You have to start there with you. You know something already. You hold something to be true. And when you say it or you think about it, you know that it is. Like if your mother doesn't like you know that is 100% fact. If that's the case. Or your father doesn't like you know it. You don't need nobody to tell you. You just know it because of why. Maybe you've had the experience. So you know it. So you see the sense of knowing? You see what knowing feels like? That's what you go for every time. The same way you can know this isn't going to work. You see, you have a sense of knowing. You have a sense of surety that you will stand 10 toes down and people will say you're wrong and you're strong because you have the feeling. It is the feeling day in and day out that moves us. But that feeling is there because you are aware of something to be true. You are aware. So this is why Neville Goddard says you do the exercise, practicing coming into your awareness. You don't have to go looking for awareness. You are, wherever you are right now, you are aware of the sound of my voice because you can hear it. So now that you are aware of the sound of my voice, you condition that awareness to say whether you like me or you don't like me. Whether you think I'm way out to lunch or maybe she has a point. You have now conditioned the awareness. Well, I can hear Angela, but man, I don't know if I mesh with her. You've conditioned it. You've given it a condition. And the condition will determine how you're going to treat me. We do it all day long. We can't get away from doing it because that is the nature. We're supposed to do it that way. But where you get your power is, what are you aware of? So you have to practice. I don't like saying have, but we do practice on a daily basis what we become aware of. We do it all day, every day. I can't stress that enough to you, other than to observe yourself. We do it and we think, oh, but that's just life. You know, it's so boring. It's so monotonous. It's so mundane. But that's because you haven't challenged yourself to become aware of something else. And truthfully, as Neville says, there's only the self to be aware of. What does it look like when you practice? When you're combing your hair or flat ironing your hair, Do you not feel the flat iron in the palm of your hand? Are you not aware of how close you can get to hold it before it burns you? Are you not aware of how close you can get it to your scalp without? You are keenly aware of that flat iron in your hand. Now, perhaps you're a man and you are shaving. You are aware of the razor. Is it a straight edge? Is it an automatic one? You know, you plug it in and you are aware of it in your hands. When you eat your oatmeal, you are aware of picking up the spoon and putting it in your mouth. You are aware, ow, that burnt my tongue. You are, now if you burn your tongue, you go through the whole day and what are you aware of? That spot on your tongue that you just burnt. You see, that is what awareness is. Your presence of yourself. First and foremost, that's where everybody is, right there. But to condition the awareness now, ooh, I feel, ooh, I feel, ooh, I am. I'm hungry. I'm cold. I'm too hot. Ooh, these night sweats and hot flashes. You are now aware of something else. You're only ever aware of yourself. That's where we all begin. And it is what you are aware of at the time that you experience. So if you get up every day and you are aware of how shitty it is, what do you think will come out of your mouth? What do you think your thoughts will be like? How do you think you'll behave? You'll behave the way you are aware of being. So it's nothing mystical. It is nothing magical. It's no woo-woo. It is right there in your face. So if you get up and you say every day, man, everybody got something good and I'm just here. What does that feel like? There's a heaviness. There's a sadness. There's a sense of not feeling good enough. So then where do your thoughts go from there? They compare with everybody else. You see, I'm not like them. I'm not as good as them. I'm that. Oh my God, they're so amazing. But then look at how you feel. Worthless. And you fight all day to not feel worthless when you are aware that you feel worthless. You can't fight against what you are aware of feeling. You have to change what you are aware of feeling. This is what I'm trying to convey to you so desperately every morning. So, how do you fix that? How do you move that mountain? How do you say to the mountain, move? Pull a ludicrous. How do you say to the mountain, move, bitch, get out the way? How do you say that to the mountain? What do you want the mountain to be? Do you want it to be a mountain or do you want it to be a molehill? Because right now, you are aware of that challenge as overwhelming. But if you say to yourself, this is how we have to speak to ourselves on a daily basis to get into a new awareness. You say, like, man, I know this is challenging. Yeah, but where? Where's the evidence here? I know that if I look, I'm going to find. I know if I plant, I'm going to reap. I know that we're going into winter. All of these things are cold, hard facts. So where's this seed in my mind that I'm planting? And you catch it. You say, oh my God, I've been feeling inadequate this whole time. I've been feeling inadequate. When you catch that, whoa, you say, but wait a minute. I've just been feeling inadequate, and feelings are like drawers. I can change them. That's right. Change your drawers, just like you change your feelings. It really is that simple, because what do you think we're doing all day long? We go from feeling to feeling to feeling to feeling and back again. But there's one particular feeling that we have practiced so much that that's where we go to, because we feel most secure in that feeling. Can you spot it? The only difference is this: you've just practiced that feeling more than you practiced the others. So it has to be stronger. So where's the problem? The problem is I feel stuck in that feeling. So what's the solution? Practice a new feeling so I can get stuck in the new one. It is only ever a change of feeling. But that change of feeling, you cannot fake it. You can't fake it. You got to come to understand it. And when you comprehend it, you're like, oh, now I see why I feel that way. For instance, if you've heard, well, you're not like your sister, not as smart as your brother is. Why can't you be more like them? Perhaps you've heard that. And now you've grown up with this complex of comparing yourself to others. Understand why it happened. It happened because somebody thought they were motivating you. Somebody thought they were inspiring you to be better, but not knowing that your perception, the way you understand things, is not like everybody else. So here you are taking, because the people who say that to you are the ones closest to you, you know. So when they say it to you, you're like, oh, that's right. That is my mother, or that is my father, or that's my grandmother. They only mean well. Yeah, but look at how it makes you feel, right? We call it tough love. Tough love. You want someone to grow and to mature? That feeling that comes out of you before you say it to them is what makes the world of difference. So you see, the person who said what they said to you before didn't know. So this is why the scripture exists, to say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. You got to remember these things. You got to understand that people are going to say what they want all the time because they got mouths, right? And they just do. But now the question becomes, when you hear it in your mind's eye, does it crush your spirit? So if it crushes your spirit, you're not meant to be crushed. So recognize it for what it is and say, you know what? Man, they probably didn't mean anything by this. Where in my life am I exceptional? Where? Where in my life am I exceptional? Where in my life am I fantastic? Where in my life am I terrific? Where in my life am I amazing? Ask. And when you start asking and you start seeing where in your life you are phenomenal, it comes with a feeling of surety. Because you can look at it and go, well, dang, I'm a great poet and I didn't know it. Ow. Well, then it does something to you. I'm going to stop prattling now and I'm going to welcome everybody. And I trust that you will practice just being aware of yourself without condition. Don't condition it. I'm hearing, I'm seeing. You're just there. I am eating. That's it. Don't condition it. Just be there. They call it being present, being in the here and now. So now you begin to understand that when you go back into the recesses of your mind and you pick up a memory, where are you? You're living it now. There's no past. The past, how could it be past when you can bring it up again? It's not in the past. You're bringing it up right now. So the same way we can go back and find the horrible, we have to be able to go back and find the pleasant, because they're just feelings and you are aware of those feelings. Don't pretend, because you can't. You can't lie to yourself. Oh my God, that just reminded me of Hulk. Stop lying to me. Sorry. From Avengers. You can't lie to yourself. So stop. There's no shame in your game, baby. No shame at all. To the wire, to the limit, to the wall. Right? You've come through it all. And here you are, right here, right now. And you are aware of what you've come through. You are aware. Start there. Start with knowing that you are. Just there, nowhere else. I am. In whatever it is you're going to do today. You driving? Ooh, I'm driving. I didn't ask you if you were a good driver, a bad driver. Just pay attention that you're driving. You're eating? Just chew. Ooh, I can chew this food. Ow, that's nice. Oh, I'm walking. Unless you're a New Yorker. Ah, I'm walking here, right? Just be aware of your very existence. Nothing else. Try it. Just test it out. Feel it out. And you're going to learn something about yourself. And when you learn it, my DMs are wide open. Because you're going to discover, I cannot tell you what you will discover, except that you'll discover you. But test it. Test it. If you're sitting at your desk and you're doing your work, you're doing your data entry, you are aware. So aware, you know when you make a mistake, do you not? When you're typing, you know when you got a backspace. See how aware you are? That's what I want you to do today for practice. Just that, nothing else. Just be aware of what you're doing. You know what it reminds me of? Remember that scene in The Matrix where Neo, he gets up because he was shot how many times? And Agent Smith comes running and he puts one hand behind his back and he starts to just fight Agent Smith. He's just, if you watch him, he's just watching himself fight. He's becoming aware. This is why when Morpheus says he's beginning to believe. You're just becoming aware of yourself. And when you become aware of yourself, you become aware of what you are capable of doing. And then you start to do it. And you start to do it, and you're like, oh, you're doing it and doing it and doing it well. That's all. And then everything starts to slow down because you're like, wait, I am doing this. I am doing this. And then all your senses become heightened. I keep telling you, don't lose yourself in what you're doing as far as the conditioning of a thing. Oh, I hate it here. You're missing something when you do that. I know. I do it often. Damn it. Yeah, I know. You think I don't know? I cuss a lot. And I'm like, get damn it. Because I forget. I'm like, wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. Just be aware, Angela. Just be aware. Nothing else. Just be aware, Angela. Bring it in, bring it in. And I got to do it multiple times a day. And you will find that you become so aware of your very existence, you begin to move different. Then you forget. You know what you do? You, as Neville describes it, as floating. You float, not just because you're untethered. That's not it. You begin to see yourself in a different way. All of the insecurities, you have just floated away from them. They're so far away from you. Why are they far away from you? Because you're no longer aware of the insecurity. You're just aware of you. Oh, Angela, that just sounds so far-fetched. But aren't you curious? Are you not curious to find that you could just float away, not because you are disengaged from living, no, but because you are so aware that you are alive. Everything is different. That's the point. You're not dragging with you your trauma. You're not dragging with you your disappointments. You're not dragging your shortcomings with you. You have opened yourself up to all of the beauty that you are. Now, I know this heifer crazy. That's probably what's going through your mind right now, but that's okay. Test it for yourself, and you will realize, wait, but that trauma doesn't sting anymore. Why not? Because you are aware of something far greater than the trauma itself. The trauma is just way over there. You're not balls deep in the trauma. That's what overwhelms us when we are so aware of the trauma that we are unaware of ourselves in the trauma. So become aware of yourself, and the trauma begins to wither. Viewing pleasure. Thank you for reminding me to tell everybody hello, because you know I tend to prattle. Viewing pleasure, A not, and a couple more people are on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. Ow. Les Go is on Twitter today. It's good to see you. Fan base, who's kicking it with us today? Oh my goodness. I had to scroll for a minute. I was like, what? Are we scrolling? Honey. Here, look. Let me do this because clearly I need some assistance. I need some assistance. When I get going, I just, I just do. And it is what it is. So King Moose is in the house. Hey. Charm, hello, is in the house. Miss McQueen is in the house. Millie says is in the house. I said honey, but it's always better to say it twice. Hey, honey. Honey. Hey, listen, we're all here. We're all here. And that's, I trust that in my prattling, you grasped something and that you are willing to experiment. Because let me ask you this question. Why do you think that everything is vying for your attention? Buy this. Oh, do this. Oh, get that. Vroom, vroom. Girl, you got to get the new Bentley. Why do you think things are vying for your attention? Because the power is not in the thing. The power is what you give to the thing because you give it your awareness. So think about how powerful you are, because it is you who has to give life to something to make it come alive in your world. And so if you're the one with the power to make this thing come alive, well then, do the things have power? Does the money have power? Does the man or the woman have power? Does the car have power? No. You are the one with the power to make the thing alive or dead. How do you kill it? Take your attention away from it. So if you want to put your attention on something, put your attention, and I will close with this. Put your attention upon you. But what? Doesn't that make me arrogant and self-centered? Man, come on, man. When I tell you put your attention upon you, I mean, if you're gonna listen, listen. If you're gonna look, look. If you're gonna touch, touch. If you're gonna speak, speak. Meaning, become aware of you and what you are presently doing. That is where your power is. I'm done talking. I am done talking. I'm all out of love. I got 4 loves left. I don't even want to say I'm going to pop over and buy some because I don't know if that'll freeze the app or not. But I got to refill my loves. But I trust that it makes sense. I don't want to be late for work. I'm dressed. I still got to make my son breakfast, but you know how it is. Oh, hey, Tim. You see? But I trust that today makes sense and that you will test it out because your curiosity has got you. What does she mean? What does she mean to just become aware of myself? What does she mean by that? Well, I'm about to pick up this mug and sip some tea. I'm going to put the mug to my lips. I just did that. Become aware of what you're doing without condition. Don't do anything other than that. Just, if you gotta go potty, just be aware that you gotta go and go. Just go and just let it happen. Just let it happen. Right? You gotta put your shoes on. Put your shoes on. Just put your shoes on. Don't be like, God damn, I hate these shoes. Oh man, I love these shoes. I ain't asked you that. Just put the shoes on. You put your clothes on, you get dressed. Ooh, I look good. I didn't ask you if you look good. Just put the clothes on. Just put the clothes on. Just pick up the phone. Put it down again. Pick it up and put it down. Just do that. Just be aware of what you're doing every moment of the day as you remember to go through this day. Just do that. But won't I miss out on life? Nah. You will become keenly aware of what's going on. And with that, let us chime in. Because I'm corny like that. I got jokes. Let's chime in. And as you chime in, just hear them because you're not deaf. Just hear it. Just hear. Listen. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to each and every one of you today as you go forth into this world and get a new sense of who and what and why you are. I'll see you tonight if you want to fall asleep with us. We are continuing at chapter 11 of At Your Command by Neville Goddard. You know, where I try and fail to read it as soothingly, as calmly as possible. I don't think that's the way it was meant to be read, but we can try. I'll see you tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, y'all. Peace out. Peace out, Twitter. Love ya. Twitter is closed. YouTube and